Fatphobia has been annoying the absolute fuck out of me lately. I cannot go on one single video with a fat person in it without seeing at least 25% of the comments just being obnoxious for no good reason. What is this obsession over fat people just existing? A lot of them think that they're somehow being helpful when they're being fatphobic, but they're literally just making everything worse. Like, all of the real data, science and shit, says that you are making shit worse. You're not making it better. The diet mindset, fat phobia, makes everything worse. It's fucking with everybody. I suppose this is getting into the video because I will list how fat people are systemically harmed. However, I would also like to say, skinny people, please do not derail the video. Don't derail. Please, this is about fat people. I understand being told to eat a hamburger a couple of times hurts a little bit. I understand. I get it. It's not the same. Please do not compare it. Let's go over, real quick, the abuse fat people go through, so you understand that it's not the same. First and foremost, in the media, for decades, every person considered pretty had your body type. Models to this day still have your body type. It might be changing a little bit on the internet, but, Hollywood still holds your body type as the standard, so please understand that. Your body type isn't used for comic relief every fucking time you get representation, and that's even if fat people get representation in the media, because it's all skinny people. This is the big one. Fat people end up dying due to medical neglect. So even when fat people are told to, take care of their health, and fat people listen and they go try to take care of their health, doctors still don't do shit for them, and they neglect them, and then they end up dying. So even when fat people go try to take care of their health, they end up dead. And their health concerns don't get taken seriously because they're fat, which doesn't make any sense, because, if being fat is a health detriment, wouldn't you take their health concerns more seriously? But they don't, and doctors end up letting them die. You do not have the same issue. Fat people get abused in settings where they need to be cared for, where there's a power dynamic. Fat people will get denied jobs for being fat, even when the job has literally nothing to do with that. You always have clothes in your size at the store. You don't have a tiny plus size section that looked like it was designed by my 56-year-old 5th grade teacher. Places will refuse service to fat people for being fat. There's evidence that fat people in certain places get paid less than their skinny peers in the same job position. Being told to eat a cheeseburger probably hurts, but it is not comparable to, fucking dying. So please do not derail this. Please. My first and foremost issue with fatphobia is literally all of that. The systemic problems that come with being fat that do not need to exist. There's no reason for these systemic problems to exist. And my second foremost problem connects to that, because why does it matter? Why can't you just mind your own business? Why is somebody's body your business? Why do you feel the need to comment on somebody's body when it is not yours? I will never understand that. It's not your fucking body. Please leave them alone. Fact of the matter is, I don't care if you're concerned for their health. It's not your business, and I will get into later why you being concerned for their health is making it worse. You are the problem. Also, I'll say very quickly that making health the marker for respect is extremely dangerous to chronically ill people, disabled people, mentally ill people. It's ableism. Making health the marker for respect is extremely concerning. People who are not healthy deserve respect too. Basic human respect and people minding their own business is what these people deserve, whether they are healthy or not. Please keep your ableism at the door. Also, I don't want to base the entire argument on the bioessentialism part, because basing an entire argument on bioessentialism is tends to ignore the fact that these people deserve respect whether or not there's a bioessentialist aspect to it, and that applies to a lot of other conversations as well. But I still think it is important to note that some people are just fat. Their bodies just want to be fat. Their bodies are just like that. And I suppose it depends on your definition of fat, but there are a lot of people that are your definition of fat that are completely healthy. They're completely fine. Their cholesterol levels are fine, their blood pressure is fine, everything's fine, but they're fat. They're just like that. So focusing on this health aspect of hating fat people, when the fat person in question is healthy, it just shows that you never really cared about their health in the first place, and that you just hate fat people. Don't just assume somebody is unhealthy because of their fat content. Now, aside from, focusing on bioessentialism and health, either way, whether they're healthy or not, you should still respect them and, mind your own fucking business. Also, a lot of people are fat because they're poor. So if you are truly dedicated to this stranger's health, then maybe advocate for lowering, vegetable prices. If a person is given the choice of, 5 apples for $6 and 6, boxed meals for $6, and they only have $6, they're gonna go for the boxed meals because that's all they can afford. Maybe advocate for lowering healthy food prices if you are so invested in strangers' health. All in all, fat phobia is real and it kills. If you just minded your own business and didn't bully strangers on the internet for their body type or just the amount of fat on their body, maybe we wouldn't have such a god-awful mental health crisis surrounding body image right now. You care about physical health, but fail to acknowledge that by, harassing fat people on the internet, you are hurting people's health in other ways. So that just tells me that you never really cared about health in the first place. But these fat-phobic people have also led to one of the biggest epidemics, the diet mindset. The diet mindset is pretty much destroying all of our instinctual reactions to food. It's causing an eating disorder epidemic, a mental health epidemic. This diet mindset goes against pretty much everything that our survival instincts are telling us to do. And it's fucking with us, physically and mentally. The obsession with food intake, particularly in places where food is abundant, is worrisome. This obsessive mentality towards food and food reduction is a complete rejection towards our survival instincts, human biology, and it's causing a mental health and physical health epidemic. I would recommend this book to pretty much anyone that's ever had a hard time with food. It's called Intuitive Eating, a revolutionary program that works, by Evelyn Tribal and Elise Resch. It essentially rejects the diet mentality. These are 2 registered dietitians and therapists. Dieting can't fight biology. Dieting is a form of short-term starvation. Consequently, when you are given the first opportunity to really eat, eating is often experienced at such an intensity that it feels uncontrollable, a desperate act. In a moment of biological hunger, all intentions to diet and the desire to be thin are fleeting and paradoxically irrelevant. This idea of dieting rejects all biological cues that we have, and it's fucking with us. Dieting has caused more harm than good. Let me read off a bunch of fucking statistics from this book to show you that you are not helping. Dieting not only does not work, it is the root of many problems. While many may diet as an attempt to lose weight or for health reasons, the paradox is that it may cause more harm. Here's what our nation has to show for dieting, our nation being the United States. Obesity is higher than ever in adults and children. Eating disorders are on the rise. Childhood obesity has doubled over the past decade. Even though there are more fat-free and diet foods than ever before, nearly 2/3 of adults are overweight or obese. Dieting increases your chance of gaining even more weight than you lost. If dieting programs had to stand up to the same scrutiny as medications, they would never be allowed for public consumption. Imagine, for example, taking and asthma medication, which improves your breathing for a few weeks, but in the long run causes your lungs and breathing to worsen. Would you really embark on a diet, even if it's a so-called sensible diet, if you knew that it could cause you to gain more weight? Here are some sobering studies indicating that dieting promotes weight gain. A team of UCLA researchers reviewed 31 long-term studies on dieting and concluded that dieting is a consistent predictor of weight gain. Up to 2/3 of the people regained more weight than they lost. Research on nearly 17,000 kids ages 9 to 14 years old concluded, in the long term, dieting to control weight is not only ineffective, but it actually may promote weight gain. Teenage dieters had twice the risk of becoming overweight compared to non-dieting teens, according to a 5-year study. Notably, at baseline, the dieters did not weigh more than their non-dieting peers. This is an important detail, because if the dieters had weighed more, it would be a confounding factor, which would implicate other factors rather than dieting, such as genetics. Chronic dieting teaches the body to retain more fat when you start eating again. Low-calorie diets double the enzymes that make and store fat in the body. This is a form of biological compensation to help the body store more energy or fat after dieting. Chronic dieting slows the rate of weight loss with each successive attempt to diet. This has been shown in both rat and human studies. Decreased metabolism. Dieting triggers the body to become more efficient at utilizing calories by lowering the body's need for energy. It increases binges and cravings. Both humans and rats have been shown to overeat after chronic food restriction. Food restriction stimulates the brain to launch a cascade of cravings to eat more. After substantial weight loss, studies show that rats prefer eating more fat, while people have been shown to prefer foods both high in fat and sugar. It increases the risk of premature death and heart disease. A 32-year study of more than 3,000 men and women in Framingham Heart Study has shown that regardless of initial weight, people whose weight repeatedly goes up and down, known as weight cycling or yo-yo dieting, have a higher overall death rate and twice the normal risk of dying of heart disease. These results were independent of cardiovascular risk factors and held true regardless if a person was thin or obese. The harm from yo-yo dieting may be equal to the risks of staying obese. Literally, all the science shows is that forcing people to be conscious of the food that they're eating is literally making it worse. When you are fat phobic towards someone, you are not actually caring about their health. You are making it worse. Not to mention, yo-yo dieting is equal risk to just staying obese. So you guys are so worried about cardiovascular risk, but you're literally causing more cardiovascular risk. So if you actually cared about the health of these people, you would shut the fuck up. Because being obsessed with food intake, overeating or undereating is against literally everything in our biology. So when you are fat phobic towards someone and push diets on people, and, force them to work against their biology, you are fucking up their mental health because you are forcing their mind to go against literally everything that we are programmed to do. You are fucking up their body because you are forcing them to go against literally everything their body is programmed to do. And you're just fucking up society in general because you are making all of this worse. Diet programs, exercise programs, all of these programs that make us obsessed with food and exercise and health, it's not as healthy as you think it is. Even if you don't have an eating disorder, even if you don't have like a huge mental health issue in general, a lot of your behaviors may still be that of a person that unconsciously reduces food because of this society we're in that forces you to go against your natural biology. Some of these behaviors that you might have and that you don't even realize are being obsessed with food include meticulously counting carbohydrate grams, eating only safe foods, which usually means sticking with fat-free and or low-calorie foods, eating at only certain times of the day, whether or not you are hungry is a common leftover habit from dieting. I know that for the longest time, I would never eat past 7 p.m. Paying penance for eating bad foods such as cookies, cheesecake, or ice cream. The penalty can include skipping the next meal, eating less, vowing to be good tomorrow, or doing extra exercise, cutting back on food in any way, Pacifying hunger by drinking coffee or diet soda. This is a common dieting trick. Putting on a false food face in public, which is when you only eat what is proper in front of other people. I do that as well. Competing with someone else who is dieting, which is god-awful no matter the circumstance. Second-guessing or judging what you deserve to eat based on what you've eaten earlier in that day, rather than on hunger cues. Becoming a vegetarian or eating a gluten-free diet only for the purpose of losing weight. Fun fact, I became a vegan because of my eating disorder, which is why vegans completely ignoring how veganism can enable eating disorders is just another one of those obnoxious vegan things that they do. Anytime you are thinking that you do not deserve food, you're thinking of reducing food, it is a product of the diet mentality, and it's not a healthy thinking. It's causing more harm than good. And there are so many people trying to jump on the, dieting is for your health train, but dieting is making everything worse. Dieting, fat phobia, you are making everything worse. The numbers don't lie. Fat phobia and the diet mindset is so much more detrimental to the health of the public than actual fat people. Being fat is not a bad thing. Stop demonizing fat people. We need to purge all of this tomfoolery, this internalized fat phobia, because it has fucking ruined public health. We just need to start minding our own business and intuitively eating. I fucked up my body so badly because of this diet mentality, the fat phobia that I had to deal with as a child. I understand wanting to be healthy, but once you get into the mindset that there are off-limits foods, it will start to fuck up your natural biology and instincts. And you need to take that into account. If you want to exercise, exercise for your health. Exercise for fun. Do not exercise to try to lose weight. You run the risk of fucking up your mental health and along the line, your physical health as well. Critically examine the way you think about food because it's really fucking everything up.